Now I'm going to give you some tools that you can use to make your far shots or your long shots more interesting.
There are 3 ways to make long shots more interesting. Give them character. Use foreground. Compose natural frames within frames. Let's examine some ways to give character to long shots.
What have we done here? It's the curved composition, a very strong curved composition that's given this shot character. Same here. Here we've done another trick. We've used the dimension of adding depth to the picture. Again, it has a curve to it. This is a long shot setting the scene here, but rather than shooting the subjects straight on, we've shot them in a way that the composition is deliberately curved and there's some depth to the picture. The curve, the nature of the rail, and the tree off to the left, that was all pre-planned and thought out in advance to take what would possibly be a rather drab shot and make it interesting. Here there are no elements in the picture to make it interesting except for the fact that it has a very diagonal composition. So that's another tool available to you. When you're making a long shot, look for diagonal lines or leading lines, as you'll see in these examples, to give the picture character. And you can go one better now by adding this trick. Compose your long shots with some foreground and they'll be much more interesting to look at. Imagine this shot without the tree in the foreground blowing in the breeze. It would be dry, it wouldn't have depth, and it wouldn't be set off. We've set it off with the tree in the foreground, deliberately keeping it in the composition and making it an integral part of the composition so that what you see here, which is a long shot or an establishing shot, is made far more interesting. Imagine if I had stood up here, just standing a little taller, and the foreground bushes were not in the picture. This is a dinosaur. It would just be sitting out there in the middle of nowhere, but by crouching and getting, like I'm hiding behind some bushes, getting behind those bushes and shooting through them, the picture has that much more depth.
Position objects spatially rather than just lining them up.
We've got one person should act as recorder, so there should be a notebook which one person is in control of. These also contain a device called a clinometer for measuring the dip of rocks. Now, we're not going to be doing any of this today, but get either...
All of these shots could have been taken from a different viewpoint, and the subjects would have appeared to be almost lined up in a straight line, just like me taking a picture of all you people out there. But by getting into a different position, you can have them spatially arranged to make the shots more interesting. Again, that has spatial depth.
Look for natural frames within frames in your compositions.
This is true whether using a long shot or close-ups. You can design these situations yourself if you think ahead. All of the stuff that you're seeing here was done very deliberately and pre-planned. Here we have, for example, the almost triangular nature of the car, the back of the car, and the bride and the groom composed in a frame within a frame. What's the main frame? The main frame, of course, is the outside images of your TV set, and the frame within the frame is the triangular composition you're seeing that's been devised for this shot. It adds a lot of interest to your shots. I'm centered within the structure, shooting through the sewing machine deliberately and framing the fellow in the background.